It finished 1-0 to Chelsea against West Ham at Stamford Bridge today, Vinny, and not a great game, I suppose, across the 90 minutes, but boy, did we get an exciting finish. Red card for West Ham, a penalty for Chelsea, missed penalty for Chelsea, and then finally Christian Pulisic popping up for a winner with them. And I'm sure when you consider the circumstances coming in off that dreadful 4-2 defeat to Arsenal midweek for Chelsea, their manager Thomas Tuchel will be quite happy with himself this afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's a big moment like all for Chelsea. I think if all but secures now Champions League football, you would imagine most likely top three, while the others scrap it out. But you could tell there's a smell around the club, for want of a better word, where we look at the ownership, it hasn't sorted itself out, and I think eventually that was always going to play itself out on the pitch. It's taken so long, and I understand these things will take time, but it's like they're ticking off, knocking one of the potential buyers off every week. It's like something off the X Factor, and it's not really that good. And it's you can tell Rudiger looks like he's out of the club. Talk of Christensen leaving, talk of Alonso maybe leaving, and I just get the real sense that Tuchel would be feeling not pressure today, but feeling a little bit downbeat, and the season is petering out. So that was a big moment for them, and to be fair to him, I thought he looked subdued on the bench, but he actually made big changes. Ziyech came on, Lukaku made a real difference, and ultimately Pulisic scored a wonderful goal and what changed the game.
Yeah, and you of course did point out correctly that it should have been a red card for Dawson. They had to go and check that with the video assistant referee, but as you said, it was a correct call. But as well, you kind of felt a bit sorry for Craig Dawson. He had such a good game, blocking away so many Chelsea opportunities, and to give away the penalty at the end like that. But Jorginho, we weren't expecting that from him, were we, to fluff the penalty in the way he did?
Well, his technique lends itself to the odd mistake, and the way he just jumps as he's hitting the ball. And it seemed to me that he jumped a little bit late in his run-up, for want of a better word, and was only landing as he was striking the ball. So really poor from him, and let West Ham off the hook. Dawson was outstanding. When you think of West Ham, it won't affect the Europa League, but that's another centre-half now they'll miss. I don't know who's going to play centre-half. To be fair, a couple of young players in the 23s, quite good in that position, so we'll see. But West Ham didn't really have the belief. You could tell they've got one eye on Thursday. I think Chelsea were there for the taking at times. West Ham just didn't have that belief to do it today. So you probably would have said Dawson was man of the match up until the 87th minute. So really frustrating for them. And David Moyes, now you can tell they've one eye on Thursday, which is a huge opportunity for them.
Just to go back to Chelsea, because they do have one piece of silverware to win this season. They could win if they win the FA Cup final against Liverpool. That's in less than 4 weeks' time. But you did mention in commentary as well that he needs to keep the form of the team good over the next couple of weeks. So it's not a case of, well, we've got top four now, we can concentrate on the FA Cup, maybe rest a couple of players here and there. You really need those players in form, especially coming up against arguably the best team in the league at the moment, Liverpool, based on form.
Yeah, what you would say is if the FA Cup final was next week, you'd really fear for Chelsea. You can't switch your form on and off. Albeit you can play well on the day, but it's very difficult to switch your form on and off at the moment. It's not helped by a lot of empty blue seats in the stadium for obvious reasons. Chelsea just need to go on a run, build momentum. Players need to find a little bit of form. Goal scorers need to score, defenders clean sheets, etc. as they build towards that cup final, because they've very little to play for between now and then. So with all the off-field stuff, the wheels can come off your form very quickly. I think Tuchel will be he's a world-class manager. He's one of the best around. He will be well aware of that, and they will have to build towards that cup final, and that's why the results of the next couple of weeks are really important. Got to find form, got to get back into a groove and into a rhythm, and take it into if they have any chance against one of the best teams in the world at the moment in Liverpool.
Finally on Chelsea, Romelu Lukaku has got a lot of attention. No surprise, because he cost them £100 million at the start of the season. It hasn't happened for him under Thomas Tuchel. It would lead you to believe that it was the signing made by Roman Abramovich, the former club owner, because Thomas Tuchel just could never seem to fit him into his side. And even today, there was a bit of fight from him, because perhaps he got booed off against Arsenal during the week, and he felt he owed the fans something. So from a Chelsea perspective, you'd be happy to see that. But again, it's just even when he is playing well in that Chelsea side, he looks like an odd piece in that jigsaw.
Yeah, I think someone who I have a bit of time for is Timo Werner, who, because of his movement and he runs in behind. Havertz has played really, really well at different stages. I thought at the start of the season that it was a great signing because he gave that Chelsea team a focal point, and with their system of 3-4-2, number 10s running different areas, just hasn't worked. Watching him in the flesh, he looks a little bit heavier than he did the last time he played. His fitness levels don't look like what they once were. He's had a lot of niggles and injuries, I understand that, but he's got to do more. You would wonder, will he still be at the club next year? That would be the big thing, because he doesn't look happy. He's done that ridiculous interview as well earlier on the season when he spoke about effectively his love for Italian football again. So came on, done really well for the penalty, role. Dawson, that's what he likes to do, get close to people, but has struggled so much that you would have to say Chelsea's best team is probably not got him in it, which is a terrible indictment of someone who costs close to 100 million.
Yeah, and you think with Chelsea maybe needing to make money during the summer, he might be one of the first to go. I don't think they'll get 100 from though. But looking at West Ham and their match against Eintracht Frankfurt this Thursday, David Moyes made 6 changes to his team from the side that drew with Burnley last week. 4 of the frontline players, you'd have to say, all left on the bench. 3 of them came on, Lanzini, Rice and Jarrett Bowen. So David Moyes will just be happy that he will have, no more injured players out of Thursday. We think so anyway. Crosswell got a bit of a knock there at the end. They will hope he is okay. But that's all it was really for David Moyes. Perhaps hopeful they might sneak a win, but to keep as many players fit for Thursday.
Yeah, I think you get caught in 2 minds. Again, going back to your rhythm and winning, a bit like what we spoke about Chelsea. They would I think they'll feel there was a win and performance there, or the team could have went and won. Because Chelsea were vulnerable at different stages, so he would have expected more of maybe like the Yarmolenko, and they should have done a little bit better in the game. But there's no doubt as a club they've got one eye on Thursday. Huge opportunity for them. Winning the Europa League guarantees you Champions League football. They're not going to get it in the league, and winning any European competition would be massive for a club like West Ham. They need to invest in that squad, because I think they weren't that far off that sort of 4th spot. The squad wasn't big enough and good enough. Need a centre forward who's going to get real goals for them. So massive opportunity for West Ham coming up over the next month or two. Starts on Thursday. It won't be a bad day for Moyes in the sense of giving the rest to. You see how important Declan Rice is. When he comes on, he just looks like the real leader for one. So young, went into the centre half position as well. So real opportunity coming up for West Ham, but they will be disappointed in one sense. I thought the game was there. Fornals, Yarmolenko and Benrahma could have put that makeshift Chelsea back 3 under more pressure, but at the same time, huge game for them on Thursday, and one that you would fancy them do really well in. And
he could even use that as motivation, because he will say to them, look, I made 6 changes to this team. I've given some players a chance, and you almost got a 0-0 draw against the European champions at their own home. So
yeah, I think they were a little bit unlucky ultimately to concede so late. It was a brilliant move by Chelsea, and it was the difference was Declan Rice was playing centre half and not in that number 6 position. When the ball was pulled back, you think he would have been there. So they feel a little bit hard done by not to get at least a point. But they would also, not winning the Europa Leagues means they won't have next year as it currently stands. You need to get ahead of Manchester United into that Europa League spot. So they feel they need to win points in the league, definitely, and continue the league run. But what an opportunity they have to, like a semi-final of a European competition, and the final would be special for West Ham fans, and we all know the history of West Ham, and it would mean a lot to them, and I'd like to see them do it. I really would.
Just to finish then, I want to ask you quickly about Arsenal, because they responded really well to a run of 3 defeats with 2 victories back-to-back against Chelsea and Manchester United in the space of 4 days. Really, really impressive from them, despite the other 2 clubs having their own problems. Does it look like they've got that top 4 nailed down now?
Well, the problem is Arsenal. You could see them dropping points to anybody at any stage. I mean, you look at Spurs have been really poor over the last couple of games, lacklustre. Arsenal were like that up until they've had a really good week. But you would like to think momentum now and the rhythm they found, Smith Rowe playing really well, Xhaka playing really well. You would imagine Odegaard playing excellent for them. You imagine now they get a real sense of and a chance to achieve something. And Just shows you a really. We spoke earlier on the season about Arteta, and I think you've got to back managers and give them time. You've got to let them grow into the role. You've got to let the club rebuild. Arsenal have a huge changeover, and I think Champions League football back at that club would mean that they may get a chance to speed up the chase of getting back to the top again by the money that would bring to the club. So really big month for them as well. Really big month, and probably would be sweet for them just to keep Spurs out of the Champions League spots as well, an added bonus for them. But a lot to do, and Arsenal being Arsenal, there is a soft side to them a little bit, and you could see them dropping points as well. So a lot of twist and turn, you would imagine, on that run in.
Great stuff, Vinny. Thank you.